Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Robert Sellers Sports Podcast. My name is Robert Sellers, and today is another thrilling episode because we are previewing some of the conference championship tournaments that are going on in college basketball this upcoming week. Champ Week is well upon us. We had amazing conference tournaments last week. They're bleeding into this week a little bit, and then most of the power conferences are going on this week, which means there's so many bubble teams whose seasons are on the line, in addition to all those mid majors who are trying to will their seasons to continue by winning their conference tournaments. It's truly the most exciting time of the year, in my opinion, to be a sports fan because I love college basketball so much. There's already been so much goodness that has gone on in conference tournament weeks. But here is where it really gets just into the nitty gritty of all the amazing stuff that we have left in the rest of the season before March Madness starts. We're not going to waste much time. We're going to start in the Big 12. This is one of the most intriguing tournaments in all of college basketball. There's so much to talk about here, so many different storylines, not just with the bottom of this league and the bubble teams, but also with some of the best teams in this league. I mean, you look at Houston. Houston has yet to not win a Big 12 tournament. They've been in the Big 12 2 years, or this is their third year actually, but their two previous years, they just absolutely swept through the Big 12. They won the regular season and they won the Big 12 tournament. This is the first year they haven't won the Big 12 outright regular season title, but they could still win the Big 12 tournament, and it would be great. That's a storyline to look at. There's also a lot of really talented teams that are sort of limping their way into this tournament, if you will, like Iowa State, like BYU, like Kansas, even. I mean, Iowa State at times has looked like a top five team in the country, and yet they just lost at home to Texas Tech. They got smoked on the road against Arizona. They did beat Arizona State to finish the regular season, but they're looking up and down. It'll be an interesting way to see how they're playing on a neutral field before they get to March Madness. Same thing with BYU. Their defense has been horrible recently. Like they have not been able to guard anybody, and they're going up against one of the best, most underrated scorers in the game in PJ Haggerty in the first round. That game will be really interesting. And then you have a team like West Virginia, even that was on the bubble, and yet they fell off. It sort of seems like West Virginia needs to pick up some steam and win at least a couple games to make the tournament. And you got teams like TCU who are really, really hot right now, who are on the right side of the bubble. And we're going to see if they can make some noise, maybe push their seeding up a little bit in this tournament. Basically, the whole thing is incredible. The whole thing is amazing. But I haven't even gotten to the best part about this tournament, and that's three things. Three bubble teams that are not technically on the bubble right now, but they could play their way onto it. And I think they could be really, really dangerous in March if they could get there. These are three teams that big power conference teams that already have bids locked up don't want to see. And those are Cincinnati, Arizona State, and Baylor. Luckily for us, tomorrow, Tuesday at 11:30 Central Time, Arizona State is taking on Baylor in the first round. Loser is eliminated from everything. Their season is over. Wrap it up. Go home. It's gone. But the winner is moving on to take on Iowa State Wednesday on ESPN or ESPN2. I love both of these teams, Baylor and Arizona State. Baylor is like top 30 in Torvik over the last 3 weeks. They've been playing really, really well. Townday Yesufu and Cameron Carr are both balling. That's one of the best wing duos in all of college basketball. Just unfortunately, they've had inconsistency from the point guard position and Obi Agbim, the transfer from Wyoming. Their front court has been not as great as you would want it to be. And because of that, they've had a really up and down season, but they're playing their best ball right now. And they're going up against the 12 seed Arizona State, who is also playing their best ball right now. They have one of my favorite players in all of college basketball, Mo Odom. He's number two. He's a little short guy with afro. He is awesome. I love watching him. He's the main reason that Arizona State beat Texas Tech. They beat Kansas. This Arizona State team can compete with the top of the Big 12. They had Iowa State on the ropes at halftime until Iowa State went on like a 24-0 run or something crazy like that. But Arizona State's awesome. I am so excited to watch this game just because I love watching Mo Odom. Like honestly, if you're free at 11:30 on whatever Tuesday, watch Arizona State Baylor and watch for Mo Odom. He is so much fun. Like I love seeing the videos of when people go through, who would you rather have taken the last shot? Darius Acuff or Kingston Flemings or Cam Boozer or Dan Peterson? I'm giving the ball to Mo Odom. I don't care. Mo Odom is my guy on that Arizona State team. He gets me amped if you watch him and just watch his game. He'll get you amped if you love good basketball. So that game is going to be awesome to watch. Again, I wouldn't want to see either of those teams. If Baylor or Arizona State makes a run and wins the Big 12, am I saying it's going to happen? No. Am I saying I think it's going to happen? No, I'm not, because that would be crazy. But if they do, I would be terrified of playing those two teams in the first round if I was a 6 seed or a 7 seed or even a 4 or 5 because they might get like a 12 seed if they win the whole thing, but it would be incredible to watch. But the number one team you have to look out for, I know I've said but already in this Big 12 tournament because there's so many storylines, but the biggest team, the scariest team, the most important team even in this conference tournament is the 9 seed, the Cincinnati Bearcats. They are absolutely on fire. Like, legitimately, they might be one of the top 5 hottest teams in college basketball right now. I'm not joking. Like, if you look at the last month and a half on Torvik, they're top 10. Legitimately, they're playing so good. Like, they've beaten really good teams in really big moments. They crushed Kansas in Fog Allen Fieldhouse. You know how everyone says Kansas is great when they're playing at home, but they can't go on the road and win. Well, Cincinnati went into their building and beat them by 20. They also beat Iowa State. They have big time wins. Like, Cincinnati is a really good defensive team. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. And they're sitting here as a 9 seed in the Big 12. They probably need to at least make it to the semifinals if they want a bid to March Madness. But if they get a bid to March Madness, I will probably pick them to go to the Sweet 16. They are that good. They have been that hot. They are that tough to play. I think they're going to crush Utah. If they lose to Utah, I'm legitimately going to be so sad. That game's on Tuesday. Looks like it's a 2 p.m. Central Time, so I don't know if I'll be able to watch it or not, but that's going to be a really fun one. And Cincinnati's just a really good team. If they win that game, they'll play UCF. Guys, they are so much better than UCF. Like, I really like UCF. I like Themis Folks. I like Riley Kugel. I have nothing against that program. Cincinnati is so much better than that team. It's not even close. So I would love to see Cincinnati beat Utah and beat UCF just to give them a chance, man. I just want to see them play Arizona. I just want to lay my eyes on that while it's going on Thursday, March 12th. That would be amazing. Like, they could 100% legitimately beat Arizona. Like, that spread should not be greater than 7.5 when they play Arizona. That's how good Cincinnati's been. And if they beat Arizona after beating UCF and Cincinnati and already having wins over Kansas and Iowa State, is it that crazy to say Cincinnati should be an at-large bid? I don't know. I feel like they'd have a better resume than Auburn at that point. Maybe better than VCU, depending on what they do in the A10 tournament. It just depends on what other teams do. But I would love to see Cincinnati in the tournament because they are so good, they are so dangerous, and they're playing elite basketball right now. So that's what you got for the Big 12. I mean, a lot of awesome storylines. You got Mo Odom, Poundé Yesufu, and Cameron Carr in that 11:30 game tomorrow. Going to be amazing. Can Houston win it again? What's Kansas going to look like? And then above all, the story of stories is the Cincinnati Bearcats. Can they please pull it off? Also, Kansas State has a lot of talent too. I know they've been terrible this year. Jerome Tang is gone. PJ Haggerty's he's going to have all the freedom in the world. Could they upset BYU and make a little bit of a run? Probably not. I'm going to say no. The answer to that question is no. But it would be fantastic if it happened. So I'm excited about this Big 12 tournament because whatever happens, honestly, it's going to be exciting as long as Utah doesn't beat Cincinnati in the first round and absolutely break my heart. But we're going to move on from the Big 12 to the SEC, a tournament that's always a blast. I love watching the SEC tournament every year because even though there's always elite teams in the SEC, and there are this year with Florida. Florida is amazing. They're a projected 1 seed right now. I was dreading it for a long time, but it is here. Florida's a national title contender for sure. But despite them having really good teams and also really bad teams, like South Carolina is not very good. Neither is Mississippi State or like, I don't know, Ole Miss or LSU. They're not very good. But the middle of the pack of the SEC, like seeds 2 to seed 12, is pretty even. Again, there are differences. Like, obviously, Alabama's better than Auburn. They swept them this year. But there is not that much of a gap between the 2 seed and the 12 seed in the SEC conference, which makes the second round and the quarterfinals so entertaining. It's going to be awesome, like it always is. Like, I remember last year watching Arkansas versus Ole Miss, 2 tournament teams go absolutely to the wire. Sean Padula hit a buzzer beater shot to win that game. And that was like the 8-9 game. Like, this SEC, it's always so deep. It is, by the numbers, the deepest conference in college basketball. So it's going to be a great tournament. Obviously, the main storyline with the SEC right now in terms of bubble teams is the Auburn Tigers. Depending on who you talk to, they're either just in or just out of the tournament. They have a terrible record. They're 16-15, probably shouldn't be in the tournament. But the bubble is just super weak right now. I feel like everyone's arguing about they look at one team specific resume, right? You look at just Miami, Ohio, or just Auburn, or just VCU, or just Santa Clara, whoever it is. Santa Clara, by the way, is 100% in. They just beat St. Mary's. If they leave Santa Clara out, if they leave my Broncos out, I'm going to flip a table, man. I'm going to go full Jesus. I'm going to flip somebody's table over. But Auburn, I think people should just be comparing them to the other bubble teams. Like, you're not just looking at them in a void. That's not how the bracket works. It's the top 46 teams, I think is what the number is, and to get at-large bids. It's not look at you and say, "Do you earn an at-large bid?" You're comparing them to other teams' resumes. So people that say Auburn should or shouldn't, tell me why they should be in over or not in over somebody more specific. At least that's my opinion. But Auburn, obviously, if they want to be in, they're probably going to have to beat Mississippi State. They're probably going to have to beat Tennessee, depending on what other teams do. There's also going to be bid stealers, which I'll talk about later. But Auburn, obviously, they honestly didn't get that terrible of a draw. They don't have to play a 1 seed or a 2 seed or a 3 seed if they make it to the quarterfinals. If they can get past Tennessee, who they already lost to this year, but if they can get past Tennessee and they get past Vanderbilt, I think they have a chance to make the tournament for sure. Another bubble team for some bizarre reason that people keep talking about is Oklahoma. Oklahoma is 100% not making the tournament. I don't know why everyone thinks Oklahoma is a bubble team. I guess if they win the SEC, they're making the tournament, or if they, make it to the championship game, they might have a shot. But there's no way. Like, do we really think Oklahoma is going to do that? They have been awful this year. They've been so inconsistent. I don't know why everyone thinks Oklahoma is so good all of a sudden. It doesn't make any sense to me. Texas and Texas A&M could definitively make the tournament if they win one game. I think if Texas beats Ole Miss and loses to Georgia, they should be in. Although their record's not great, they're playing it a little close to the bone there. It would behoove them to beat Georgia in the second round for sure. A&M's sort of a similar story. They're more in than Texas A&M, but it's barely. Like if you look at Texas's numbers, like Wab and Torvik and Ken Palm and Net, and you compare it to A&M's, it's pretty similar, which is really funny because they're such big rivals. But I mean, these two teams are eerily similar in resume. If they win big games in the SEC tournament, that would really help them out. And then, of course, who I would pick to win the whole thing, I would pick Florida. I think if Florida doesn't win the SEC, that'd be crazy. I will say though, Vanderbilt is fully healthy. Like this is the first time we've seen a fully healthy Vanderbilt with fully healthy Duke Miles, Tyler Tanner, Devin McLaughlin, and Tyler Nickel. That's a killer four right there. The Vandy four, the Commodore four is gonna. That's good. Commodore four. I might trademark that. That's gonna be. I'm gonna call the Doors that the rest of the year, the Commodore Four. But if they go up against Florida in the semifinal round, they almost beat Florida this year when they were fully healthy early in SEC play. That's the game that Florida forgot to bring their jerseys. I love college basketball so much. Only in college basketball can the University of Florida forget to bring their jerseys to a big time top 15 showdown and still win the game on the road. That was a crazy one. But that would be a rematch of that one on Sunday or Saturday, March 14th. I would love to watch that at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see what happens. I would pick Florida, but you never know. Also, if we can get Alabama Arkansas rematch, that would be absolute cinema. I would love it so much. Those two teams when they play each other, it's awesome. It was awesome the first time they played this year. If you don't remember, it went into double overtime. Darius Acuff dropped 49, and Arkansas still lost the game. I have a really good friend that's an Arkansas fan, so I felt bad for him. But that being said, I didn't felt too bad because it was an amazing game to watch, and I loved watching it. But I mean, yeah, that would be an amazing game too. The SEC is a lot of fun. It's gonna be great fun if you want to watch a really fun tournament that has a lot of big time teams that you're gonna see in March. Go watch the SEC tournament. It'll be great. Moving on from that, we got the Big Ten tournament. I know there's a lot of people out there that are SEC fans that don't like the Big Ten, and Big Ten fans that don't like the SEC. I don't understand why can't we? Why we just got to enjoy this. It's good basketball. It's a great tournament. Why can't we just sit back and enjoy and watch college basketball? I don't really get why there has to be conference hatred amongst people. Don't Alabama fans already have enough hatred for Auburn? Don't Michigan fans already have enough hatred for Ohio State? Why can't we just hate each other and just respect the other conference? Whatever. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the Big Ten tournament. Honestly, if you haven't looked at the bracket yet, if you're just listening to this, don't look at the bracket yet. Close your eyes. I want to play a quick game with you. It's guess the higher seed because I thought this was a little shocking. Guess who's the higher seed? UCLA, the UCLA Bruins with crash out coach Mick Cronin, who's been throwing his players out of games and yelling at reporters. Who's the higher seed, UCLA or Purdue, who was AP number one ranked team this year and who was in the top 10 most of the season? Guess, just guess. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's UCLA. UCLA is the 6th seed and Purdue's the 7th seed. I thought that was crazy. You can open your eyes now. You can look at the screen, look at the tournament. I just thought that was nuts that UCLA is a higher seed than Purdue. I know it's there's not a committee that's voting on this. It's based on standings. I get that, but I just thought that was crazy. Also, the fact that Illinois is a 4 seed, like Illinois, people say Illinois is a championship contender. They have number one offense in the country. They do, and their offense is spectacular with Mirkovic and Wagler and Kylan Boswell and the Visic's. It's great. They've got a great offense. They're only the 4 seed in the Big Ten. So we'll see if they can make some noise, but we'll see what happens. They have to play Wisconsin again, who they lost to this year, if Wisconsin wins there. But I digress. The main bubble teams you got to watch in the Big Ten are Indiana and USC. I'm being nice, including USC in this conversation. They are probably not a bubble team. They lost Rodney Rice to injury. They lost Chad Baker Mazara to whatever shenanigans was going on there. He got injured and then like sat with the fans. It was weird. If you haven't seen that story, that means you're probably not an USC or Auburn or Alabama fan. But if you have seen the story, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, Indiana, they have to beat Northwestern. I think it's going to be Northwestern. Northwestern plays Penn State. Northwestern's the most consistent team of those two. So I would think the Northwestern Wildcats would win that one. But if they do, Indiana would have to play Northwestern. And if they want to make the tournament, I'm talking about Indiana, they would have to beat Northwestern and then probably beat Purdue, who they split games with this season. They won one and lost one against the Boilermakers. So they probably have to beat Northwestern, beat Purdue, and get a little bit of help from elsewhere. They might also have to beat Nebraska. And beating Purdue and Nebraska on back-to-back days is a challenge. So I don't think that that's going to be possible for Indiana. But hey, I mean, it's DeVries. He's a great coach. Never doubt Tucker DeVries. He's a great player. Lamar, what's his name? Wilkerson. Lamar Wilkerson can flip a switch and score 40-something points. I think he's done that like once this year, but it can happen. It's happened before. Let's not count it out. It is March Madness. USC, I already talked about USC. That's my bad. Sorry, folks. I apologize on that one. An interesting storylines to look out for. Wisconsin, what version of the Badgers are we going to get? Are we going to get the version of the Badgers that can legitimately be the best team in the country and win on the road at Michigan and dominate Michigan State? Are we going to get that version of the Badgers? Or are we going to get the version of the Badgers that just doesn't shoot well and decides not to play offense and not guard anyone and look like a terrible team? It'll be interesting to see what version of that team we're getting before the big tournament. Also, Ohio State is one of the most slept on teams in the country right now. They are playing amazing basketball, and they have the opportunity to play Iowa, which is a very similar talent level matchup to what they're going to see in the first round. I think Ohio State, I have them projected as a 9 seed, and I have Iowa projected as an 8 seed. So both of these teams, it's true for both these teams, if Iowa can beat Maryland or Oregon, it's going to be a very similar matchup playing each other than as to what they're going to see in the first round of March Madness. So it's going to be interesting to look at that. Also, if they win that game, they play Michigan. It would be awesome because it's Ohio State, Michigan. That would be incredible in the Big Ten tournament. I would love to watch that. But it's also another great simulation of what it's going to look like for one of these two teams to play a 1 seed if they win on that 8-9 line. Same with Michigan. Michigan's going to be a 1 seed. This is an 8-9 caliber team. What's it going to look like for Michigan to play one of these teams on a neutral site? I know it's very different than what the matchup they're probably going to get, but it's a little similar. I don't know if you see what I'm saying, but it's just that's why these conference tournaments are so interesting because it's on a neutral site and it's really realistic to what you're going to get in the tournament. So I'm really excited to watch that. Also, what version of Michigan State are we going to get? Is Jeremy Fears going to keep kicking people in the nutsack? Well, who knows? Really, who knows? I don't know if I'll be able to tell you. I'd love Jeremy Fears, so I hate to say that that's true, but it might be. So if I were to pick a team to win the Big Ten tournament, I would pick Michigan. I don't think that's that crazy. I think that's what most people would pick if they're casuals and boring and losers. So I'm actually not picking Michigan. I'm picking Nebraska because Nebraska is amazing. And no one is actually going to care if I pick the Big Ten tournament wrong unofficially on my podcast. So no, I'm not picking Michigan. I'm picking Nebraska because I love the Cornhuskers because the price is right. Price is right. Stanford is going to drop 30 against the Wolverines and they're going to win. Come back here in a week and you'll see that I truly am the prophet that has become the knowledgeable college basketball source. So give me Nebraska to win the Big Ten tournament because I don't care anymore. Give me Nebraska. Moving on to the A10 tournament. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to talk about this one. SEC, nah. Big 12, Big 10. Y'all are overhyping those. We need to get to the nitty gritty. We need to talk about the A10 tournament, baby. Because this is going to be hype. This is where I can actually start introducing the idea of bid stealers to those who don't know what a bid stealer is. And to those who don't know what bid stealers are, that's okay. That's totally fine. I get it. Okay, I get it. You love watching March Madness. You love hearing the whatever the March Madness. What's the March Madness? Like dun, 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 on CBS, and you love watching that. I did too. That's what I did as a kid. I didn't know what a bid stealer was until like 2 years ago. But now I know what that means. Okay, here's what a bid stealer means. Look at a conference like the A10. The only two teams as of right now that have an at-large bid in the A10 are St. Louis and VCU. So if St. Louis or VCU wins the A10 gets 2 bids to the NCAA tournament. But if a team not named VCU or not named St. Louis wins this conference, they will make the tournament in addition to VCU and St. Louis, which means 3 bids come from the A10. And if you have one more bid from that conference, guess what? one of the other power conferences, that's less of a bid for them. So that's not good for your bubble teams like Auburn, bubble teams like, I don't know, take your pick, Indiana, Cal, Stanford, VCU, not VCU because we're talking about it, right? VCU, if someone other than Miami, Ohio wins the MAC, but you get my point. So that's why these tournaments are so important because if St. Louis or VCU wins this conference tournament, nothing is really going to change. They're going to make the tournament. The other team's going to make the tournament. But that's it for the A10. And those other teams that are on the bubble, that's good news for them. But there's some really good teams in the A10 right now that are not in the tournament as we speak that could play their way into the tournament by winning this conference tournament, which would then kick out a team like Auburn. And those teams are Dayton and George Mason. I'm telling you, Dayton is playing really good basketball right now. They are winning. They went to the wire with VCU. They beat St. Louis. They're going to be a tough out. And so is George Mason. George Mason single-handedly took St. Louis from being 25th in Ken Palm. Then they blew them out on the road. And now St. Louis is 40th in Ken Palm. That's a 15-point Ken Palm difference because of one game, because of George Mason. George Mason is a scary good 5 seed. And those two teams could play each other in the second or the third round in the quarterfinals. We could get Dayton versus George Mason. I would love that so much. The winner taking on St. Louis. Both of those teams just coming off of wins against St. Louis. So I'm going to be cheering hard for that. And then also on the other side of the bracket, St. Joe's is a very sneaky 3 seed. They've been very quietly consistent, very quietly good in the A10, and they could go up against VCU in the second round or in the semifinals. I would love to see that. So A10 conference, man, it's going to be a blast. I cannot wait to watch this one as well as all the other ones that I can't wait to watch. This is just the best week of the year, man. I'm getting chills right now. It's awesome. So speaking of bid stealers, by the way, speaking of bid stealers, we're going to the Mountain West Conference where there is almost guaranteed to be a bid stealer, in my professional opinion. Because very similarly to the A10, the only 2 teams that have a chance at an at-large bid in this conference are Utah State, who's pretty much got one locked up, and New Mexico, who is very much so on the borderline right now. So if either of those teams win this conference tournament, 2 bids to the Mountain West. But there are so many teams that could have a chance to come in and win this conference. Grand Canyon has an amazing defense. They defend really well. They're the 4 seed. They also have some good shot making. I would not be shocked at all if they make a run in the Mountain West tournament. Same with San Diego State. This is potentially the best team in the conference metrics-wise. They've been really banged up this year, but they've got Miles Bird. They've got Magoon Guath. They're healthy. San Diego State is the 2 seed, and if they win the conference, the Mountain West could be a 3-bid league, which again does not bode well for other bubble teams. Another big team right now that people need to know about and need to be talking about is Boise State. Boise State has won like 6 games in a row. They're the 6th seed in the tournament or in the Mountain West tournament. They are on fire right now. And I would not be shocked if Boise State wins against San Diego or San Jose State, wins against New Mexico, and finds themselves in the semifinals with a chance to steal a bid. That's what happened last year. Colorado State was the bid stealer in this conference when they won the whole thing. They ended up beating Memphis in the first round and then nearly beating Maryland. They needed a Derek Queen buzzer beater to beat the Colorado State Rams. But that could happen again very much so in the Mountain West. I am really excited about the Mountain West tournament. Again, these are some awesome games. I mean, if we get Utah State, Grand Canyon, the 3rd game between those 2 teams, that would be amazing. New Mexico, San Diego State would be awesome. They've already played twice this year. I think they split the series, but I could be wrong. Even a team like Colorado State, a team like Nevada, there's teams in this conference that have won big games, that can win big games. UNLV just beat New Mexico. They're the 8th seed. They could realistically find a way to beat Utah State. I wouldn't be shocked. So the Mountain West tournament, it's going to be late night games. If you like staying up late watching college basketball, and if you do, you're crazy, you're out of your mind. Who on earth would stay up late watching college basketball? I mean, you're outside of your mind if you think I would do such a thing like that. I mean, that's ridiculous. But if you do like doing that, if you're crazy and you like doing that, welcome to the Mountain West tournament because you're going to be able to stay up late watching college basketball. If you look at those times that I have on here, that's Pacific time. So yeah, there's a semifinal that starts at 11 p.m. Central Time, which is midnight Eastern Time. And if you like staying up late watching college basketball on a Friday night, the Mountain West is your tournament to tune into. I'll take a quick sip of water here. My throat is dry, so give me a second. Ah, thank you so much for giving me a second. All right, moving on from the Mountain West tournament. And this is another reason I had to give myself a second because the next one is a doozy. Just wait. Place your bets. Place your bets, by the way. What is the next conference tournament we're going to go to? Because I just said it's a doozy. I think it's exciting. It's got one of the best stories in the history of the sport that I'm about to talk about. I'll give you 5 seconds to place your bet inside your own head. This is not a live show. 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the MAC. No, it's not the MAC. It's the ACC. I just lied to your face. I'm not as excited about this one. I'm sorry. That's not bad, man. I thought I was about to talk about the MAC tournament, but I ordered the dang thing wrong. Well, we'll talk about the ACC. I don't even want to talk about it. It's going to be so boring. Don't watch the ACC tournament. Legitimately, Duke is going to win. I don't. It's not even close. There's no competition in this darn conference. Duke just won Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Freshman of the Year. They just it was all Duke. Duke just swept the awards. It was terrible. I hated it. And I don't have anything against Duke. John Shire is a great coach. I think he's awesome. Cam Boozer's amazing. He's going to be great in the NBA. This team is really fun to watch. They're really, really good. Just why is there no competition? They just dominated UNC. And that game wasn't even close. Virginia, you're like, oh, Virginia's the 2 seed. They could have a chance. No, Duke beat them by like 25 2 weeks ago. No, Virginia's not going to have a chance to win this. Miami's great. Miami hasn't even played Duke this year. Miami lost to, like, I don't even remember, like Georgia State or something like that at this point. There is no competition in this tournament. Duke is going to win. So I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. We could get part 3 of Duke Carolina. I guess that'd be fun. We could watch Duke win by 30 this time on a neutral court. Florida State, by the way, is the 8 seed. They moved out of the dreaded Tuesday in the ACC tournament where the worst teams of all time get to play each other. I mean, my goodness. You tell me who wants to watch Virginia Tech, Wake Forest. I don't. Virginia Tech is a quote unquote bubble team. Ain't no way they're making a tournament. You could not pay me to watch Virginia Tech, Wake Forest with all the other stuff that's going on Tuesday. But anyway, I'm hating on the ACC. I don't mean to. It's a fun conference. They have history. It's going to be great. I'm going to be positive here in a second. I just had to get that out that no one can compete with the Duke Blue Devils. It's ridiculous. But Florida State has been really hot recently. They've beaten Clemson. They've won some big games. They're not going to get an at-large bid. But if Florida State is my fun team in the ACC, I will watch the ACC tournament to watch Florida State because if Florida State can beat Duke and prove everything that I just said wrong, I will be so happy. If someone out there watches this and then Duke loses to Florida State and makes me look like an idiot, that is awesome. I'm for that. Make me look like an idiot, Florida State. Please. I would love for you to do that. Louisville is another up and down team in this conference. They could win the whole thing. They could also lose to SMU in the second round, which they've also lost to SMU already this year. They beat SMU when Michael Brown scored like 40, and then they lost to SMU 2 weeks later. Louisville, man, Louisville's crazy. They're really up and down. They're out of this world. So is NC. There's a lot of bubble teams in the ACC. Actually, we do kind of have to talk about this. There's 3 teams, especially that are on the bubble right now in the ACC, that definitely could get big time wins to help their bubble chances. That's NC State, Stanford, and Cal. All 3 of those teams. I have NC State as one of my last 4 in, and I have Stanford and Cal as 2 of my like last 8 out or something like that. I don't know. It's not very official. I'll talk bracketology in a minute, but. All 3 of those teams could use big wins. Both Stanford and Cal definitely can't lose their first round games. And then NC State probably can't lose their first round or their first game. They would play Stanford. They just lost to Stanford at home, which is why I have them close to the bubble. Everyone's like, NC State's close to the bubble. Why is NC State close to the bubble? Because oh my gosh, she had a stroke. They just lost to Stanford at home. And if they lose to Stanford again on a neutral court, that does not bode well for their chances at all. So that's the ACC tournament. Look at it. Take it in. If you really want to look at it, pause the video because honestly, I'm done talking about it. I want to get on to the actual good stuff. That's not the ACC tournament. And that is what I previewed for 2 seconds before flipping to the ACC accidentally. The MAC. The MAC tournament, baby. This is where true basketball lies. This is where the real storylines are. This is where teams are going to dilate. You're going to see true grown men fighting for a chance to play their sport more. That's what you're going to see when you log into the MAC tournament. You're going to see the 1 seed be undefeated, be a 31-0 team that has something to play for, that has an undefeated season on the line, that needs to win to earn the accreditation of the national media. And hey, they might not even be the best team in the conference because the Akron Zips are on fire. They are on absolute fire, and nobody's talking about it. Akron is so good. They're 16. Actually, I think they're 17-1 in conference. Their only loss was on the road at Miami, Ohio by 3 points. Uno dos tres, 3 points. And they're the 2 seed in this conference, and they could play Kent State. Kent State is another really good team. That's the big 3 in the MAC. Miami, Ohio, Akron, and Kent State. Miami, Ohio is looking to be the first team to enter the tournament undefeated since 2021 Gonzaga, who went to the national championship. And if Miami, Ohio could do that, it would be incredible. If we got an undefeated team in March Madness, and it's in Akron, it's not even Akron. It's Miami, Ohio is the undefeated team. Please, please, can we have that happen? I am so sick and tired of everyone saying Miami doesn't deserve to be in, of Miami, Ohio this, Miami, Ohio that. First of all, stop calling them Miami, Ohio. It's Miami, okay? Miami University existed before the city of Miami existed in Florida. Call it Miami. And then I will be calling them Miami, and I will be calling Miami, Florida, Miami, Florida. And all the rest of the college basketball world should be doing the same. I don't care. I don't care who you are or where you're from or what Instagram account you have. It's Miami and Miami, Florida. That's the way it is. I'm sorry. That's just the case this year. But this Miami team should already be in the tournament. And I don't know. It's a crazy discussion. A two-loss team has never missed the tournament in the history of March Madness. I don't know why people think a one-loss team this year is going to miss it. And if you're saying we haven't played anybody, they're undefeated in quad three. Almost like 90% of teams that are in the tournament right now are not undefeated in quad three. Like, name your favorite team, unless it's one of the one seeds or maybe one of the two seeds. They're probably not undefeated in quad three. UConn isn't undefeated in quad three. They're not. Neither is Florida. So I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Just putting that out there. Akron, though, I think will win this tournament. I do love the Akron Zips. As much as I love Miami, Ohio, they've achieved so much this year. It's an awesome team. People shouldn't be putting all these high standards on them. They have to win a tournament game to be deemed successful. They are a successful team. Travis Steele's done such a great job. They're so unique. They're awesome. That being said, I do think Akron's going to win the tournament, but it's predictive metrics. I don't know. I don't want to give into Miami, Ohio rant or Miami rant right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just went back on my word. I apologize. But I just love Akron and I love Kent State. I hope one of them wins the tournament so we can get a two-bid league. Another bid Steeler scenario. If Miami, Ohio wins this tournament, there will only be one MAC team, like always, in the March Madness tournament. But if Akron or Kent State wins, there will be two MAC teams, hopefully, in the March Madness tournament, which would leave out another power team. So that's another bid Steeler scenario. And last but not least, the last tournament we must discuss before we hang it up for the night is the Big East. The only real bubble team in this conference is Seton Hall, and they are not really quite on the bubble yet. They're going to have to probably, at least, if they make the Big East final, they have a shot, which means they'd have to beat Creighton and then probably St. John's unless Providence somehow pulls it off. But Seton Hall will probably have to beat Creighton and St. John's in St. John's building in Madison Square Garden in downtown New York City to make it to the Big East final, where they'd probably play UConn unless UConn loses to Marquette again. Oh, my goodness. But that being said, Seton Hall's probably not going to make the tournament because they're probably going to lose to St. John's like they've done twice already this year. But the thing that I want to see, I would love to see UConn lose again to Marquette because that would be hilarious. But other than that, I would love to see UConn and St. John's play each other for the third time this year in Madison Square Garden in the Big East Finals with the Big East Tournament Championship on the line. I think that would be awesome. I would love to see it. Of course, Dan Hurley versus Rick Pitino is always cinema. These two rosters, it's really fun when they play each other. Either it's a really close game and Silas Emery turns the ball over 9 times, or St. John's just forgets how to play basketball and UConn wins by 30. Hopefully it's the first one because I don't want to watch UConn win by 30 again. I don't have any hate towards UConn. That's just not fun basketball unless you're a UConn fan. And I grew up in Houston, Texas. I'm not a UConn fan. You can sue me. I like their jerseys. I like Solo Ball. I like Alex Caravan, winningest player in the history of UConn. I love Dan Hurley. I actually do. I know so many people don't like Dan Hurley. I freaking adore Dan Hurley. I think that dude is awesome. Well, I don't adore him. I only adore God. But I love Dan Hurley. He's great. I respect him as a coach and as a figure. I think he's cool. But that being said, there's not very much to talk about with the Big East tournament because the Big East is kind of lackluster this year. Probably only going to get 3 bids. Villanova's one of them. It's worth mentioning Villanova. Haven't had a good win all year. They beat Wisconsin like 5 years ago is what it feels like. It was in November. I know it's not actually 5 years ago. They beat Wisconsin in the prehistoric age. That's where they have their big win. They lost to UConn twice and they lost to St. John's twice. So they had chances, but they just didn't really expound on their chances. So Villanova and Kevin Willard will make the tournament, but they're probably going to lose in the first round. You heard it here first. Thanks. Your number one take guy, Robert Sellers. I know. I'm really good at what I do. I get it. Shout out to Paul, by the way, being a 6 seed. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to DePaul. People think of them as the bottom dwellers of the Big East. They're a 6 seed. All right, that's not bad. That's not bad. 6 seed and 11 seed lead could be much worse. But that being said, we're going to move on to the bracketology, to the whole beautiful bracketology thing that you see before you. If you're not into bracketology, if you don't want to see what the bracket looks like as of right now, don't look at it. I am so sick and tired of everyone looking at Joe Lunardi's bracket or CBS Sports bracket and saying that this is the definitive thing. Right? I know I've heard so many people say Auburn is officially the first team out. And there's nothing official about any of these brackets. Joe Lenardi's bracket, CBS Sports bracket, my bracket, random schmoes bracket on the internet. It's all opinion. None of this is set in stone. This one is just my opinion on what the bracket would be if the season ended today. Um, and it would be awesome. I mean, if you want to pause the video and look at it, you can look at it. But I mean, every time I look at it, it just makes me so excited. We could have St. Louis versus Duke in the second round. That would be incredible. Northern Iowa is so scary. I would not want to play Northern Iowa at all right now if I was any of these five seeds. You can look. I could look at it for hours, just staring at it and looking at potential matchups and how awesome it's going to be. I mean, Stephen F. Austin's played Alabama. That's a crazy game. Those are two completely different teams. High Point's got UNC. UCLA could play Florida in the second round. You know how hot UCLA is right now. It's crazy. But anyway, the thing we should be focusing on is the bubble. And if you want to really look at the bubble, look at the very top right corner. You can clearly see. I know the logos are a little weird. I'm no expert. Okay, I'm just a student in college trying to get my degree and talk about college basketball on the side. And North Carolina State, New Mexico, VCU, and SMU are sort of my last four in, and Auburn, Indiana, and Cincinnati are on the bubble as my next three out. But if you think about it, in my opinion, there's going to be at least three bid stealers in the conference tournaments that are upcoming, which means probably three teams, two to three teams, are not going to be able to make it that were on the bubble previously. So let's just assume Akron wins the MAC, and let's just assume Dayton wins the A10. That cuts out two teams from the bubble, and this being New Mexico and SMU, which really means the last team in right now is VCU. So that's why bid sealers are really important. That's why that's going to play a factor in this. And we're not going to be done having this conversation about who's in and who's out until the bid stealers are known. It's a very important part of the bubble that people don't talk about. I don't know why they don't talk about it, but they should. Moving on to the final segment of the night. That is the big mid-major games that no one wants to talk about that are going on tomorrow night. This is Tuesday night. The greatness that is going to happen on Tuesday night. We got the Horizon League championship game between Detroit Mercy and Wright State. Winner of that game is probably going to be a 16 seed. But hey, UMBC was a 16 seed when they beat Virginia. Okay, Fairleigh Dickinson and Sean Moore and that team was a 16 seed when they beat Purdue. Man, FDU beat Purdue. That was so awesome. So who knows? Detroit Mercy could be your next FDU. And if you want to watch the next FDU, go tune into the Horizon League Championship game, please. It'll be great basketball, I promise you. Hofstra is taking on Monmouth. Hofstra is another spooky team. I would not want to face Hofstra at all. I think they're in the 300s in pace. They play really slow, which is really unique. Not a lot of teams play that way. And especially if you're a power team that hasn't seen something like that, sometimes it catches these teams off guard. That's what happened with McNeese last year when they just smoked Clemson right out the gates. They just weren't ready for that style of play. And Hofstra's got it. They're also, I think, 29th in the country in three-point shooting. So you're telling me there's a team out there in mid-major basketball that plays really slow, that can defend, and that can shoot threes. I don't want to face them. If I'm a 4 seed, if I'm a 5 seed, get those guys away from me. I don't want to see them. And they're taking on Monmouth. So if you want to watch a team that could potentially go on a little bit of a run, watch Hofstra. And they're pretty good. I'm just telling you. Also, Siena is taking on Merrimack. Merrimack is also sneakily good. Like, this is not a bad team. They're not a bad 15 or 16 team is Merrimack, and they're taking on Siena with a bid on the line. These are all championship games on the left. The winners of these games are dancing, and the losers are going home. It's done. It's over. Zero zip nada out of here. But there's the door. But the winners, man, the winners get their name etched in the tournament. The winners get to have a bunch of kids who have never seen these teams before go, Hofstra? I've never heard of Hofstra. I'll pick them. That's what those teams get, man. I'm telling you, it's special. It's really, really special. That's why I love this sport. And then on the right is something I wanted to throw in there because one of the most exciting conference tournaments that no one's talking about is the Southland tournament with McNeese and Stephen F. Austin. Both these teams are spectacular. They're both really, really good defensively. They're very similar to each other. And again, these are two teams that I would not want to see if I was a 5 seed or a 6 seed or a 4 seed in the tournament. They're both playing their semifinal games. McNeese is taking on University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. I know it's a big mouthful of a name, but they're pretty good too. They're the 4 seed in that, or they're the 3 seed in that conference, going up against 2 seed McNeese. And then Stephen F. Austin is taking on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The Islanders. Watch out for the Islanders, man. They'll get you. So in my perfect world, Stephen F. Austin and McNeese would both win, so we can have a absolute amazing Southland Conference tournament championship game between the Cowboys and whatever Stephen F. Austin's mascot is. I don't remember because I'm a casual, unfortunately. But That'll be a fun game. I would love to watch it. That being said, I'm going to leave y'all with the bracketology. Just looking at it one more time because it's beautiful, man. And as men and as women in this beautiful world, we are drawn to what is good and true and beautiful. And I can't think of something that's more good, that's more true, and more beautiful right now than this bracketology, other than one thing, and that is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I know that all of y'all probably clicked on this video to hear about college basketball, to hear about my takes on whatever it is, or just to watch a crazy guy talk about the sport that he loves. But if there's one thing I want to leave each and every one of you with tonight, it is that God loves you. He loves you no matter what. He loves who you are right now. And let me tell you something, who you are right now is not perfect. It's not. Just like who I am right now is not perfect. I am very flawed. I sin all the time. I sin today. I am never perfect. I'm never the man that God created me to be. But God still loves me. And he still gives me the opportunity to love him. And we are called to not only love him, but to love others because God is love. And if we bring love to others, we're bringing God to others. So please, if you take one thing away from this video, it is that no matter where you are in life, no matter who you're with, what you're doing, where you are, when it is in your life, it is never too late to choose God, to choose to love him. It really is that simple. And if you do that, you will find peace, you will find happiness. And it doesn't look the same for everyone. It's different for everyone. Everyone has a different relationship with God, just like everyone has a different relationship with you. Like, think about you, yourself, and the people that you know most best in your life. They all have a different relationship with you, just like we all have a different relationship with God. But that doesn't mean that he loves us any less than he loves anybody else. The person that goes to mass every single day and prays all the time, and the person that is out sinning constantly, God loves both of them the same. No matter what you do, who you are, God always loves you. Like, I just want every single one of you to know that. And then again, this is not me preaching. This is not me saying I'm better than you. This is not me saying anything like that. I am just as bad, if not worse, than everyone watching this video. I know the truth that is God. I know the truth that is Christianity, and I still choose sin. I do. But it doesn't matter because God's infinite mercy has me covered. Like, that's the good news. The good news isn't that we're all perfect. The good news isn't that we all have it figured out. The good news isn't that we're all great and we can do whatever. The good news is that we are flawed. We are not what we're supposed to be. But God loves us and forgives us and is there for us if we choose him. That's all we got to do, ladies and gentlemen, is choose God. It really is that simple. Um, and if you don't know where to start, just pray. Just say, God, this is me. This is my name. Help me with this thing. Or tell them about your day. Tell them that your day's going great or your day's not going too great. Or if you're really stuck, pray for me. I need prayers just as much as anybody else. Say, Lord, I watched this guy talk about college basketball on a podcast, and I wanted to pray for him because I know that he's facing temptation, and I would love to just give him a helping hand and pray for him. That's all you got to say. And it's that simple. I try and pray for all of y'all every single day, and I love each and every one of y'all, even though I've never met you. So again, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a very blessed week, a blessed weekend, a blessed conference championship week. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. And with that, go make somebody smile today, and just have a good one. Have a good one. It's that simple. Go have a good one. See y'all later. Thanks for watching.